Hey everyone, Caleb with Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with a video that I'm sure I'm going to title another video in the future with this same title, but it's go the extra mile basically. So guys, sometimes you really do need to go the extra mile in business if you want people to not only remember you, but choose to do business with you again and again and again. The reason that you guys want to do the extra mile is because it makes it so people can't forget you. They remember when, there's a popular saying actually, that people don't remember what you say to them, they remember how you make them feel. And at the end of the day, when you go the extra mile for people, guys, they remember how that made them feel. They remember, ooh, there was that one guy that sold me that thing on eBay, and oh, that thing was just so cool, and he did this and this and this. I loved that. I really want to do business with him again. I'm going to check him first. Maybe I'll see if he has his own website, which, guys, if you sell on eBay, maybe having your own website could save you a lot of money because you don't have to pay the eBay fees. I haven't done that just yet, but that is something I do want to do in the future, and it's something I will be doing in the future. I just haven't had time. But with that said, though, guys, people do, when you do stuff good for them, when they feel really good because of what you did for them, they do end up paying you back. At least a small portion of those people end up paying you back because they're like, they did me a favor, I'm going to do them a favor by paying them back and buying something for you again. So with that said though, guys, my little thing that I did extra, and I have a fun little story for it, but the thing that I do extra, I've talked about this in the past with you guys, is I wrap my books. So I don't care if it's a paperback book, if it's a $2, well actually I do care if it's a $2 book, I don't sell $2 books, but I don't care like what the book is, I don't care how fancy or how ratty it might be, but I am going to wrap that baby, and I'm going to put my little happy reading sticker right on it. That's what I do for all of my books that I sell, well, almost all. I don't do it for the, I don't do it for the mass paperbacks. I just shove all those in a box and make sure they're well packed and make sure they don't get damaged. But those I don't do anything too fancy for. But for actual books that I sell, the actual book listings, the sets of books, all those sorts of things, I do wrap them. I make sure they look nice. And yeah, it takes some time. It takes some product to be able to wrap these books, make them look really dandy. But at the end of the day, imagine you are the buyer, you get your book, and not only is it not in a padded envelope, it's in a box, which people love. People love getting their books in boxes. People request that from me quite often because so many letter carriers and whatnot with USPS, they will see, oh, this is a padded envelope, I'm just going to fold it in half, or I'm going to like try ripping it in half or something to make sure it fits in the box. It's terrible. So when you do an actual box, they of course cannot bend it, or if they do, then they really are probably going to get fired pretty soon. But that's something that I do. Also, I do the boxes because boxes protect the books a whole lot better. And guys, when I first started doing boxes, when I first started doing this business, boxes and the padded envelopes were maybe 20 cents less, something like that. So I mean, it was pretty comparable of a price. But now, stinking the last group of boxes that I bought from Uline, they were buck something, and I remember when I started it was like 74 cents a piece, and I just bought some more boxes on Amazon because Amazon was a better deal when I did it. And man, guys, so much more money nowadays because of all the inflation, which really stinks. But luckily, butcher paper and tape hasn't really changed price too much for me, so I'm lucky there. Just gotta wait for cardboard to go back down. But with all that said though, guys, I'm telling you this entire story, this little spiel, because I have had a lot of repeat customers who are like, yeah, because you wrap the books, because you treat me so well, because you throw in these extras, I keep on doing business with you. In fact, I have one purchaser who's bought quite a few mass market paperbacks from me, and they've bought, I want to say, almost a dozen times from me. Just once every month or couple of months, they purchase another group of books. And this last time, I actually was like, hey, so I see that you bought this one lot of books. It's only 9 books, so I'm going to include another lot. So here's 18 books instead. It was just something that I did because they've bought from me so many times, and I oftentimes will throw in an extra book or two with a lot of the mass market paperback lots that I do. Of course, these extra books that I throw in are like books, so if it's a bunch of police thrillers, I'm going to throw in the 9 that they bought, say, and I'm going to throw in one extra of another police thriller, and the person's going to get them and be like, wow, either this person can't count or he's being nice. Don't worry, guys, I oftentimes tell the buyer that I threw in the extra so they do think I can count. But with that said, that is something that I do to do the little extra. It's the extra mile that I go, and that person has rewarded me. They've bought from me quite a few times. I have had, since I've really ramped my business back up, I've had a lot more repeat buyers. It's nice because of how I ramped my business back up. I've mentioned this in other videos, guys, about how I did all the mass market paperbacks, how I bought a whole bunch of hardcover, like popular author things. It's been nice since I re-ramped into that, because those are things that someone might buy one series from one author and then they'll buy the next series from that author. So they might come back to me to buy those extra books, because I do have a lot of those extra books. Same with the mass market paperbacks, because I'm doing the like sort of things. People will do repeat buying with me a whole lot more often. With my antique side of my business, I do not see that as often, believe it or not. So going the extra mile doesn't do a whole lot, except for just make sure that the book that the person bought actually gets there in one piece and is in good shape. Because there are some books that I do, guys, that the leather covers are crumbling. They are like falling apart. So when I'm wrapping these books, sometimes I actually go, I don't have it in reach, but I actually bought some like flat, almost like cardstock cardboard, and I just cut out the shape of the book, and I use that as an extra protective layer on the cover itself, which is something that I do that I'm sure a lot of people don't do. Forgive the noise though, that's my heater, guys. It's pretty chilly down here. But with that said though, guys, I always like to go the extra mile and make sure things are as good as they can be. So that was my little story on the one guy who's bought from me quite a few times. But here is actually, I have a email from one of the buyers that I recently had, and I waited long enough for this that I hope they don't find out that I'm mentioning this. I'm not telling you guys their name because of course their privacy, and I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, but just again to maintain their privacy and all that sort of stuff. But with that said though, guys, they said, and again, this is someone who bought one of the nicer books from me, so I wrapped it, packed it, and made sure it was really dandy, and that's what I do for like almost all of my books. And another aside there, guys, the reason why I am able to go so far above and beyond for some of these books that I do is I do have a higher floor for how much I charge for my books. I know I've had some of you guys be like, oh, your floor should only be $10. I make lots of money with just $10 or $15 or something like that. For me, I have my floor because I do the extra stuff, and because I am charging extra for these books, I'm able to do nicer things with these books. Of course, I do have some books that I sell that are below the floor of what I like to charge, because sometimes I end up buying a book and it's not worth as much as I first looked up or what I believed it was. That happens sometimes. I still list those books because I don't like throwing things away, but that's the minority, and I still do treat those books most of the time just as well as I would treat all the other books that I sell. So with all that said though, guys, back to this review here that I want to just tell you guys, and actually not a review, they basically said the same thing in their review, but this is just the email they sent me, and they said basically, I applaud you for how you are packing your things, and honestly, you need to go out and start teaching every other eBay seller how to do it exactly like you do. Like, they actually said the entire thing of, you need to teach everyone how to do that, and I was like, honey, you don't understand. I am teaching people how to do this. Mwahaha! I thought it was sort of funny. But long story short, guys, they really enjoyed how I pack it, and they went on to say, I feel like there's a story to be told behind da-da-da-da-da with the writing in the book, and they think that was so cool because the books that I sell, guys, I am selling books that have some writing in them sometimes. A lot of these books, when they're from the 1800s, they'll have the person's beautiful calligraphy, writing, all that sort of stuff, and I include that. I include photos of that in the books themselves. In the photos themselves of the listing. I mention it in the writing of the description below, because people do look out for the descriptions and the photos when they're buying higher end books. Of course, if you're selling books that are like $2, maybe no one's going to read the description because it's not worth too much money to them, so they can take a little risk. But when I'm selling that more costly books, these people do look into these things a whole lot more. So this person, they were saying how they love the writing, they love the age of the book, all these sorts of things. And these are things that I mentioned in the description because, again, that's one of the things that I do to go above and beyond. It's all about going above and beyond in business, because that's what makes people think about you some more. And with that said, that was just their comments there. And in the actual review that they left me was, they said, I want to buy everything I buy on eBay from this seller. That's the opening line of that one, and I know that you guys might be able to look that one up and find out the seller's buyer's name, so please don't do that. They have privacy for a reason. But that's something that they said in their review, and it's something that I have gotten quite a few comments from different buyers in the past, because again, I am going above and beyond. Almost no one is wrapping their books because it's a waste of time in so many people's eyes. It's a waste of money. Like, What? You want me to spend 25 cents doing the wrapping and the sticker and the tape and all that? What? No, I'm just throwing that thing into a padded envelope. I'm not even doing a box, you know? Like, congratulations, you saved, including time, $2. Yeah, $2 is a big difference if you are doing something that is a like lower end book, say a $2 book. But if you're charging $25 for a book, $30 for a book, something like that, the little bit of time that you put in is not nearly as important. And for me, when I'm selling these books, when I'm listing these books, all that sort of thing, when I'm buying the books, I am factoring in, okay, so I'm going to wrap this book, which is going to take this long, it's going to take this much product, this much time, all that sort of stuff. I factor all these things in, and again, that's why I have my floor where I have it for my pricing. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to charge a minimum of, say, $25. Remember, guys, I did try to up it to $45, and as soon as I upped it to $45, we started having the recession hit pretty bad, so I've dropped it back down to $25 for the most part. Of course, in the giant group of books that I bought from that one estate sale, I do have quite a few books that are well below the $25 point, which is really a bummer, but hey, can't help that. So with that said, though, guys, I hope that I sort of convinced you, hopefully, to go the extra mile. I know that some of you guys, cough, cough, the used book guy, I'm looking at you, man. I know that some of you guys think that it's a total waste of time to go and do some of these things, and honestly, for his business model, guys, it totally is a waste of time to go the extra mile. I'm not hating on him, except I am. Ha ha ha. Sort of as a joke. That's what I do. A lot of people do teasing. I tease too, guys. But a lot of people, they cannot go the extra mile on things like that. For me, it works with my business model. It works with the listings that I do, all that sort of stuff. So I recommend it if you guys are doing your business like I do my business, where I have the floor of 25, where I do the higher end, where I do the higher end books, where I do like to have the extra like sort of prestige store feel going on. Like, I want people to feel when they buy stuff from my store, I want them to feel like, wow, I didn't just buy this from like some random person on the internet. I bought this from someone who enjoys their trade, who loves their work, that sort of thing. And a lot of people will do business over and over again if they know that, do business with you over and over again. If they know that you love your trade, if they know that you go the extra mile, they will do that. They do reward people who have that burning passion for their trade. So for me, I just like showing people that I do have that burning passion for old books, for going the extra mile. And honestly, guys, I just love having things that are wrapped when I buy them. Like, I get it out of the box, I'm like, cool, it was in a box. That's better than when it's a padded envelope. I hate padded envelope books because they always get dinged up. Guys, I've mentioned this in other videos, so I write books as well, and I just bought a group of books from Amazon of my own books, and since I bought enough of them, they put it in a box, so when I got them, they looked good and weren't folded. So much of the time when I buy my books, I don't buy enough of them all at once, so they throw them into the bags and they just get dinged up all over. It's terrible. And I buy a brand new book, but when it gets to me, it looks like very good, or good sometimes, like it can be terrible. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I do the box, is it just saves the book from being murdered. But in addition to that, guys, once I open it, if I can see that the book itself is wrapped, I am over the moon. In fact, there are a lot of other people that I've talked to that aren't my buyers that have said, yeah, I bought from this one person this one time, and it was wrapped and it was so beautiful. I'm the happiest camper in the world. And something I've mentioned in other videos, guys, is I did think about wrapping my books in twine and maybe even doing a wax seal on it. I might do that in the long, far future, but right now I'm not doing that because that is a little bit too far. It's too much of the extra mile for me right now because just too much extra cost as things are. But with that said, what I do is still a whole lot more than what I could be doing, what a lot of people do. And again, as I mentioned a little bit before, the used book guy, his business model, if you guys aren't following him, be sure to subscribe to his channel. He's got some really good stuff, by the way. But as I mentioned before, guys, not everyone can do the higher end stuff, and because you can't all do the higher end things, because some of you guys have the lower cost books, you will have to at some point decide, are you going to buy the paper to wrap them and end up losing all your profit that you had, or are you going to go with the like mass business model? Are you going to try to do the whole Walmart approach where you are just selling a volume of things where you're making a little bit per item, but because you're doing such a high volume, you're still making money? For me, I'm doing a lower volume of books, whole lot lower, honestly. I actually did try the FBA business model where I did a large volume, and then compared to my eBay store that had this lower volume but higher quality, and I ended up making the trade just because of the cost, the profits, all that sort of thing. I go over that in other videos. I will go over that in videos in the future, so you guys can check that out. But long story short, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. For me, I personally recommend going the extra mile. As I said from this one buyer, they loved it. They said they will look for me forever, until they die, basically, sorry. And that's just something that I have personally decided to do. It's something, again, that I recommend you do. Please do it. It really is cool. Buyers really do love it, and for me, I love it as well. But at the end of the day, you have to decide what you want to do with your own business. With that said and done, though, guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if this was helpful for you guys in any way, shape, or form. Be sure to check out one of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.